Hi everyone, my name is Marina Epidemiology. Today we are going to be discussing an analysis of behavioral risk factor surveillance system data and the association between sugar-sweetened beverage consumption and BMI. Let's get started. So on the agenda today, we'll go over some background information, the methods utilized in the analysis, the results and conclusions that were found, and then we will discuss a proposed intervention based on the findings. So just some background information, obesity is the fifth leading risk factor for mortality worldwide. According to the World Health Organization, in 2016, 39% of adults ages 18 or over were overweight and 13% were obese. Obesity is essentially caused by an energy imbalance between calories consumed and calories expended, and is not only an outcome of various factors such as poor diet and lack of physical activity, but it is also a risk factor for various comorbidities, including hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and diabetes. Sugar-sweetened beverages, or sugary drinks, are leading sources of added sugars in the American diet. In New York State, more than 1 in 5 adults, or 23.2%, drink at least one soda or other sugar-sweetened beverage per day. With that being said, the specific aim of this analysis was to assess the association of BMI and sugar-sweetened beverage consumption using the 2016 breakfast data for the state of New York. So moving on to the methods. As stated, the 2016 breakfast data was used in this analysis. Breakfast is a nationally representative cross-sectional survey on health-related risk behaviors, chronic health conditions, and the use of preventive services among adults 18 years or older residing in the United States and participating territories. It is conducted annually by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and for this analysis, the data was restricted to only residents of New York. After the data cleaning process, researchers were left with a final subsample of 22,572 participants. The exposure of interest was sugar-sweetened beverage consumption, which was measured as a categorical variable, and soda and sweetened fruit drinks per week with 4 levels broken down into 0 drinks per week, less than 1 drink per week, between 1 and 7 drinks per week, and more than 7 drinks per week. The outcome of interest was body mass index, or BMI, measured in kilograms per meter squared, and excluded those who were underweight with a BMI less than or equal to 18.5 kilograms per meter squared, and those who were severely obese with a BMI greater than or equal to 40 kilograms per meter squared. This analysis also included 9 covariates, which were sex, age, ethnicity, race, education, income, physical activity, history of CVD, and history of diabetes. Each covariate was categorized as binary, continuous, or categorical, and coded appropriately as shown in the chart. The statistical software that was used in the analysis was Stata version 15. Complex survey weights were applied to all analyses, which included descriptive statistics as well as simple and multiple linear regressions for both crude and adjusted data. Upon checking for assumptions using CPR plots, residual plots, and QQ plots, there were no apparent violations. So the results of the descriptive statistics with a focus on the exposure of interest showed that 32% of participants reported no sugar-sweetened beverage consumption, 21% reported 0 to 1 sugar-sweetened beverages per week, and 28% reported consuming between 1 and 7 sugar-sweetened beverages per week, and 19% reported consuming more than 7 sugar-sweetened beverages per week. Here are just a few of the descriptive statistics of the covariates of interest. Approximately 59% of males were overweight compared to the 42% that were normal weight and 52% that were obese. Hispanic ethnicity was 12, 13, and 14% respectively across normal, overweight, and obese categories. Among blacks, 13% were normal weight and 17% and 23% were overweight and obese. 31% of those who graduated high school or less were normal weight compared to the 43% who were obese that graduated high school or less, while 35% of college graduates were of normal weight compared to the 27% of college graduates who were obese. 8% of the overall sample population had a history of cardiovascular disease, which increased from 5, 9, and 11% across normal, overweight, and obese categories. And the same pattern held true for diabetes diagnosis with percentages of 4, 10, and 18% respectively. Now we will move on to the linear regression results. In the crude linear regression, there was no significant association between the reported consumption of less than 1 drink per week or between 1 and 7 drinks per week and BMI, while there was a significant association between the reported consumption of more than 7 drinks per week with an increase of 0.43 units BMI with a 95% confidence interval and a p-value of 0.025. In the adjusted model, reported consumption of 0 to 1 drinks per week was associated with an increase of 0.49 units per BMI with a 95% confidence interval and a p-value of 0.003, and reported consumption of greater than 7 drinks per week was associated with an increase of 0.47 units BMI with a 95% confidence interval and a p-value of 0.020. The covariates that were found to be associated with lower BMI included being female, non-Hispanic, and a college graduate, and the covariate that was found to be associated with increased BMI was no physical activity in the last 30 days. As noted below, all associations had a 95% confidence interval and a p-value of less than 0.001. In conclusion, researchers found evidence of an association between the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages and BMI in the state of New York. Further research should be performed using similar analyses and with additional adjusting for confounders. Many factors have been suspected to impact BMI, and with the conclusions made, health campaigns and interventions can be implemented to reduce the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages and promote alternatives, essentially reducing obesity. So one proposed intervention to reduce the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages leading to a decrease in obesity would be to eliminate the availability of sugar-sweetened beverages in school vending machines and cafeterias. According to the New York State Department of Health, 31% of children between the ages of 2 and 17 consume at least one sugar-sweetened beverage daily. This would be the target population for the intervention, as healthy habits should be established early in life, especially prior to their breakfast eligibility. The goal of the intervention would be to reduce the availability of sugar-sweetened beverages in schools, as children spend majority of their days in school, and to promote alternative options such as water in order to build healthy habits and eventually to help reduce the prevalence of obesity. Based on the socio-ecological model, the level of influence would begin at the organizational and institutional levels and eventually would work up to the government level. A case control design would be the chosen study design in order to compare the BMIs of the children who attended schools where where sugar-sweetened beverages were banned to those who attended schools that allow full access to sugar-sweetened beverages. Although an epidemiologic study an ecological study would be ideal, it would not be ethical to purposely serve children sugar-sweetened beverages knowing the effects that they have on the body. The objective measures would be similar to that of the analysis discussed, including the consumption patterns of sugar-sweetened beverages and BMI measurements. Since children are not always at school, there will be some confounding factors, such as the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages consumed at home or sugar-sweetened beverages that are brought from home. Data collection will occur at baseline and bi-yearly to include a survey of sugar-sweetened beverage consumption patterns and height and weight measurements. Here is a list of references used in today's presentation, and thank you for your time.